Will the housing market crash in 2022? Hey y'all, welcome to yet another video. We have some really interesting content up our sleeve, so make sure to keep watching and subscribe to our channel to show some love. Alright, enough with the diddle-daddle, let's get on with the real thing. The level of competition appears to have decreased slightly. According to RedFin, it dropped to a record low level of 58% in August from a high of roughly 74% in April 2021. Expect significantly reduced competition pressure, but don't anticipate any immediate price decreases. I'm guessing you're considering buying or selling a home in 2022, and you're interested in how the housing market will develop. Fear not, because we have all the deets. By the end of this video, I am 99% sure you would have concluded already. Remember that a prediction for the housing market can only offer you a general notion of what to anticipate if you purchase or sell a home shortly. Never let it dictate where you reside. Only your conditions and finances should do that. Now that all has been said, let's examine the market's performance more closely. Due to the pandemic and historically low mortgage rates, a large number of people worked from home this year, igniting the housing market. According to RedFin research, there was a high demand for homes and a short supply, which created a highly competitive market where more than half of the properties sold for more than the asking price. That amounts to 54%. How is the housing market doing? Last year, the housing market erupted like fireworks, and some of those sparks could still be flying in 2022. The law of supply and demand, constant mortgage rates, and post-pandemic employment recovery are all contributing to the surge in house sales that experts are still observing. The indications don't precisely point to a significant housing crisis in 2022, though nobody can say for sure. The variables that led to a crash, according to an Indiana-based real estate agent Vander Stelt, are not currently present and most likely won't be for some time. He says there are simply too many individuals getting older, and certainly many who are already there want their own space to live. Home sales increased in September, October, and November of 2021, and even though they slightly decreased in December, they were still up from the same period in 2020. Due to the high demand and tight supply, buyers are still gearing up to enter the market. The median home price increased by more than $50,000 from the previous year to just over $347,000 in 2021. And other months witnessed even bigger increases in the median property price. For instance, the typical home price in December was about $355,000, which prepared us for even higher prices in the years running up to 2022. RedFin's real estate database reports that the percentage of properties for sale that had a price decrease during the 4 weeks ended April 13 was 12%, the highest percentage since December, up from 9% in 2021. However, by May, 19% of sellers had reduced their asking price, which was the largest percentage since October 2019. Not to mention how interest rates may impact your home's overall cost. Interest rates were historically low last year, ranging from 2.15 to 2.39% for a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage to 2.74 to 3.10% for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. However, in 2022, mortgage rates have already begun to rise. The economy and inflation have an impact on mortgage rates, just like everything else. Additionally, the Federal Reserve has declared its intention to raise interest rates this year to curb inflation. While this particular action won't have a significant effect on mortgage rates, the Fed's overall shift in policy will probably result in higher interest rates for all borrowers. That's terrible, because it implies future homeowners will eventually pay more for their homes. Remember that when the experts analyze fresh data, these figures will probably alter. However, the reality is that in 2022, house sales will most likely remain mostly unchanged, and interest rates will most certainly increase, and home prices will most definitely keep rising, hopefully more gradually. The inventory is predicted to remain low. Prices are still high, there is still a shortage of inventory, and sellers may often choose from the most qualified buyers, those who have the money to submit large bids, pay in cash, or both. So, if you are wondering if the housing inventory will remain low, yes, it appears to be that way. At the end of the previous year, there were roughly 180,000 fewer properties actively offered for sale, and inventory was nearly 27% lower than it was during the same period in 2020. Jason Edwards, the youngest individual to be named on the Austin Business Journal's Top 50 Agents list and head of the Agent Advice editorial board, said, "One thing to bear in mind is that the growing property costs have made it impossible for everyone to become a homeowner. So, a significant development right now is that only the very wealthy, or those who have accumulated significant savings, can own a property. The following few months will likely see the continuation of this trend. A persistent scarcity of inventory is one of the primary factors preventing a housing crisis in 2022. The housing market just doesn't have enough properties for sale, according to one analyst. Despite a little uptick in recent months, according to him, the housing inventory is still relatively low, especially when compared to historical patterns. According to Freddie Mac experts, we are roughly 4 million houses shy of fulfilling demand and necessity, said Christopher Totaro, a real estate agent with Warburg Realty in New York. According to Totaro, some of the biggest real estate challenges are labor shortages and supply chain problems. According to him, such issues lessen the likelihood that inventories will expand much. An increase in mortgage rates might slow things down since low inventory is driving up property prices and demand. Stelt states that even while the projected rate increase to 4% by the end of 2022 is not very significant by historical standards, it will probably result in fewer possible purchasers. According to them, if mortgage rates rise, prices may stabilize and fewer multiple bid offers may be made. Prices will continue to rise, although property values are predicted to slow through 2022. Unless we observe a quicker increase in homeowners wanting to sell their property to avoid foreclosure, together with rising mortgage rates, price growth will still be brisker than normal periods. How will buyer demand for housing be? According to real estate analysts, buyer demand will continue to be quite robust in 2022. In the months before 2022, homes for sale got 3.8 offers on average, up from 3.5 offers in late 2020. Even if you may not believe it's a significant rise, it still counts. When asked to describe their market based on the number of buyers shopping for houses, real estate professionals throughout the nation had a lot to say, mostly due to the large several buyers. A quick reminder, if you've enjoyed the video so far, consider subscribing, as we frequently upload such informative and educational videos. Let's continue. Last year, many millennials started their careers, and more are expected to do so in 2022. According to Vanderstelt, this age group is what drives the U.S. housing market. According to him, millennials are helping the housing market bottom by purchasing their first houses. For the foreseeable future, he predicts that this will keep the U.S. housing market unduly stimulated. While millennials may be the generation to follow in the housing market, boomers may also be worth monitoring as real estate prices continue to rise. According to U.S. Census data, boomers still account for the greatest proportion of the housing market at 75%. It would be fascinating to observe if they start to move again now that we have, hopefully, passed the worst of the epidemic, adds Stelt. They probably achieved large financial gains on their properties over the years. Now, what is all this for buyers? It appears that if you want to purchase the house of your dreams in this market, you'll still need to be at the top of your game. You'll likely face fierce competition, high property market prices, and perhaps even a bidding war when there are more buyers than sellers. Another drawback is that indications are that the low inventory problem will persist for some time. Although the supply of homes on the market last autumn increased somewhat to about 7 months, it didn't remain that way. Inventory collapsed by the end of the year to only 1.8 months' worth. Even while homebuilders are optimistic about their business in 2022, this doesn't always imply it will be simple for you to purchase a newly constructed home. Building enough homes to meet demand is extremely difficult due to rising prices, a lack of supplies, and even government tariffs. When it comes to purchasing a home, the options may be limited. To buy a home with all you need, you might have to forego some of your wants. But don't worry, buyers also have a positive aspect. For the time being, mortgage interest rates are still as attractive as a blue snow cone on a sweltering summer day. However, as we stated at the outset, they are gradually rising and are most likely to continue doing so in 2022. However, there is a strong possibility that you may lock in a mortgage rate that is lower than average. For the record, lower rates are advantageous since they result in lower monthly payments and a reduction in the amount of money that will be spent on interest throughout the loan. Yay! Now, what is all this for sellers? Homeowners can feel confident about listing their properties in 2022. If so, you might wish to list your home as soon as possible while there is still a lack of supply. Due to a resurgence in foreclosures and rising property values in 2022, you could face a little bit more competition if you do decide to sell. However, there are still a lot of buyers out there, which is excellent news. In 2022, there is a significant chance that homes will still be swiped up quickly. The average time a property spent on the market in 2020 was 21 days. However, as of recently, that time has decreased to an average of 19 days. Now, this is fantastic news for house sellers who are eager to quickly sell their properties, but purchasers must remain concentrated. Once you discover a house that suits your family's needs and your budget, you shouldn't hesitate to make an offer because, if you do, it could already be gone. Because of this, when you begin the search for a home, you must be completely aware of what to look for and what you can afford. Working with an experienced realtor will help you discover the perfect buyer, handle competing bids, and take advantage of rising house values. It will be much simpler to sell your home this year for a fantastic price if you have an expert on your side. Did you enjoy the video? Please hit the subscribe button, like, share, and comment.